In the beginning of this year, I went to Taiwan to learn how to live again. Here's what happened. This wasn't an ordinary trip. It was my first real vacation in 5 years of intense entrepreneurial grind. This was when Olivia suggested that I take some time off to figure things by myself away from home.
All right, solo trip. Here we come.
The question was, where? I ultimately chose Taiwan after a call with my most well-traveled friend.
My sabbatical. What about Taiwan? It's not as crazy as Thailand. It's kind of a lot more compact. People are kind and wholesome. Tons of nature for you, and I know you love nature, so I think Taiwan could be a good place for you to just find solitude and just find yourself before you go on to some other places.
In the stillness of the 15-hour flight across the Pacific Ocean, I wrote out the questions I most desperately wanted to answer on this trip. Will I be able to connect with other people when I'm not always absorbed in building the future? And what makes me feel truly alive? Maybe the key was to see the world from the curious, childlike perspective.
Wow, this is really massive. Taipei main station. Like, it just really opens up like crazy.
I did the opposite of what I typically do. Instead of planning everything out in advance, I only booked the first 4 days at a hostel called Meander, situated in the bustling hub of Xinmendi.
This is home for the next 4 days. First, I'm gonna take a nap. Good night.
It didn't take long to find my first new friend. Ho from Malaysia asked if I wanted to go on a night market adventure with him.
We just arrived at a good time. This is a Taiwanese election day. We just happened to be here.
Parachuting into the Taiwanese presidential elections made me realize the value of directly experiencing history by visiting places rather than just reading them.
Which night market is this? Lingsha. This is my first night market. I'm very excited.
Taiwan's night markets are stuff of legend. They date back to the early 20th century as pop-up stalls selling food and necessities to workers in a rapidly industrializing society.
Okay, this is insane. I'm just like overwhelmed with the variety here. I now know the hype. It is worth the hype.
Today, they have evolved into economic powerhouses and social hubs, offering a wild mix of traditional and novel flavors called 小吃, meaning small eats in Chinese.
Oh, it's good. That's so fresh. Dude, seaweed was the right choice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the onion, everything.
Papaya milk. Yeah. The melon.
Just one of these crazy places will be a top highlight in any other city in the world. In Taipei alone, there are about 15. That should tell you how obsessed people are about food and nightlife here.
First day one in Taiwan.
Speaking of food, the next morning, I mustered up the courage to approach a bunch of hungry Americans out for dim sum. They've all been traveling for weeks now across Southeast Asia and seemed friendly enough. I hit it off immediately with Charles and decided to tag along to National Palace Museum, a treasure trove of artifacts rescued from mainland China when the communists took over. As I got to know him, it turns out that his parents met in the US through the Church of Scientology of all places. It really shows just how many random events it takes for each of us to exist in the first place. Another day, another night market. After the museum, we met up with the rest of the crew.
Siling market. Giant vat of freaking dumplings.
My observation of night markets is that they provide a wholesome way for young people to go out and have fun. Instead of alcohol, you get papaya milk. Instead of gambling, you get tons of these silly claw machines. I couldn't believe that this was only the second day, and I was already overcoming my anxious social shell. The night was still young, so Charles and I met up with Ho at the Yanping River Park, a strange place where locals make pop-up karaoke jams out of everything from cars to shrines. I loved absorbing the energy of the city. We made our way to the Dadaoten Market, a cluster of container hawker stalls where you can chill on top and get a nice view of the harbor. This was when the boys got by some I mean a lot of drinks, while I sipped on my bubble milk tea due to my really bad alcohol allergy.
Cheers, guys. Cheers. Alright, these guys aren't the craziest.
Just when I thought the night was over, Ho caught on with a bunch of drunk Germans chilling outside of the hostel. As I slipped away from the group, I was completely and utterly satisfied with how the day unfolded. I was overcome with deep gratitude for all the kind souls I had met. For those who know me, you'll be familiar with the Midori Traveler's Notebook. I bring mine everywhere. I write in my map almost every day, pouring my thoughts into its pages, like a patient talking to a therapist. That's why I had to drop by the indie stationery shop, Tools to Live By.
Discovered that I am at a Traveler's Notebook owner shop and they have custom stamps. And this is going to be a bit of a souvenir because I've actually reached the end of this notebook. This is honestly the best souvenir that I could have asked for. Entire box of Traveler's Notebook inserts. I love how customizable this notebook is and carry mine everywhere. I also just found out that this double-sided sticker where I stick like different mementos and stuff during my travels into my notebook, it is literally out of production now, so this is one of the last ones.
That night, a bunch of new hostel friends convinced me to go out with them to Maji Square. Hidden in the corner of the Taipei Expo Park, this cluster of clubs, bars, and food stalls can only be described as an urban festival that comes together every weekend. I felt like a real VIP ducking out the chaos to take a breather with Yao Kim from Norway to grab some pizza. There we met Yi Yi, a sleepy artist who lit up upon seeing a bunch of backpackers stepping into her usual stomping grounds.
These drawings.
Can I write in my language?
Don't remember how many times I do.
She was surprised to hear that we had just met each other. To be honest, I was too. Elephant Mountain is where most of the photos of the iconic Taipei 101 Tower is taken. Hence the crowds. But if you just keep going a little past the main viewpoint, the path opens up to unadulterated greenery and hiking.
All right. Yep, we're gonna reach all the way up there. One hand right here. It says there's like a little tent area. Oh, right here. Right here. We found it. Yes. This is super cool, guys. Super tucked out of the way. Wow. I forgot how it is to actually explore, get off the beaten path, away from other people and just have my own solitude. This is such a beautiful place. It's just ridiculous, right? Like, it's got its own charms, it's kind of run down, but I just love how nature has reclaimed so much of this.
I lost track of time mapping out the characters that I had encountered in Taiwan so far. This helped me identify the kind of people I want to let into my life, and those who I'd avoid. It also began to answer the question of who I wanted to be.
The crazy thing about being in the mountains is that time really melts away. And now we're hustling over to the entrance, wherever it is, before it gets too dark and I can't see. Wish me luck. Everything is just golden as hell. That is what I am talking about. That's crazy.
Just like that, my first week in Taiwan came to an end. The things I found most beautiful from the human world have the colors of love and simplicity. I learned that connections of relative brevity can yield rich depth if they are kind, open, and curious. That's how travelers become good friends so quickly. Elephant Mountain awakened something deep within me, the love for nature and adventure. It restored the wonder of travel. I was finally ready to venture outside of Taipei and explore the rest of the island. The question is, where to?